Now, it doesn't matter how good somebody look. It don't matter how sexy they are. A lot of people fall into the trap of lust, and temptation. Oh, I won't never find nobody look this good, or tempted to be with them because they're this successful, looks, money, and status. They done put this, basically status out here and the requirements in the dating market, the dating pool that you have to meet. A dude had to be 6 foot tall, 6 figures, 6-pack. A woman had to be a dime, fine as wine. She had to have a BBL. She had to have all this fake surgery now and competing with all the IG models. Listen to me. True godly people don't care about none of that. I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you. I don't care about none. As long as you naturally beautiful, you try to eat right, keep yourself up, good attitude, fun, outgoing, enjoying life, just full of life and happiness. That's what it's all about. I enjoy my peace. I don't want nobody toxic. I don't want nobody full of drama. I got to fuss and fight with when I came home from a long date. I don't want to have to do that. I want to, of course, everything is not going to be peaches and cream every day. I get that. You're going to have disagreements here and there. But when the bad outweighs the good, that's something wrong with that. I don't know why people, it's like this thing where the more drama is in their life, the more they're attracted to it. It's like a magnet. Like, I want the less drama. I don't want to end up with somebody I see all the red flags, right? We met flirting around, things got serious. We end up together, getting engaged, getting married. But I seen this person had a bad attitude. Like, I even knew somebody like that, had a bad attitude. They will cuss up a storm. They felt like it was okay to disrespect you, go out, flirt with other people, get other guys' number, fornicate, all these other things that were sinful. Now, what I always like to do is throw this in there too. I don't judge anybody. I would never do that. Don't talk down on nobody. This is just my story and my experiences and my testimony on what I've been through with, so I don't ever want nobody to get the bad impression like, oh, this person is I'm gonna be trashing and bashing. No, I mean, you have to keep it real to explain to other people what not to do, and live righteous and holy. And you have to go through it in order to get through it. So back to what I was saying, this person would cuss up a storm, go out, party, drink, stand you up, go meet up with somebody else, fornicate, don't matter. Text you the next few days like nothing never happened. Nothing ever happened, right? Bipolar as they come. I mean, you if it was anybody that you ever knew that was so bipolar, crazy, full of toxic drama, argumentative, just disrespectful, always give you pushback, they always have to be right, attitude, mean, stank, nasty, dirty attitude, cuss you out, downgrade you, slander you, gossip about you to their family and friends, and just like, it was just awful. It would have been a really, really awful situation that I would have ended up in. And I almost ended up in like 2 or 3 different long-term relationships like this. Now I'm gonna get to that point about the other one. Now, being that I said all that, right, I got all of that bad stuff out the way, you can kind of understand why I would never want to be with this person, right? Not saying that I didn't love them or had love for them, and I would love to see them change and become a better person and like self-improve, but it just didn't seem like that was in the deck of cards for them right now. And they just seemed so like on their self, full of pride, ego. You can't tell them anything. They're spoiled. They always have to have their way. You can never tell them anything. You get pushback on anything you tell them. They're so argumentative. They always have to put people down to belittle them, and that's was something I just couldn't rock with. So I was just like, nah, I want somebody godly. And they don't like that. They didn't like the fact that I want to live righteous and they want to be of the world. They did not like that. So being that I was just like, we need to cut this off. Have a nice life. You go your way, I go my way. That was it. This person decides to come back a few days later, try to win me back. A few days before that, they had text some nasty, dirty text messages to me. And it was just like, I'm not going to respond to that. See, you can't give the enemy power. That's why God always tell you to come out from amongst them and be ye separate. Don't argue with foolish people, because you will become foolish and they will laugh at you and they will continue to do it. The word tells you, don't mess with foolish people. That's in the word. Do not come out from amongst them and be ye separate. You don't have to deal with people if they degrade you, treat you nasty, and belittle you and make you feel like trash or dirt, or slander you, argue with you physical, try to fight and argue with you mentally, physically abusive, and mess you up and give you all this anxiety. You don't have to do that. You don't have to be with them. Now, they want you to be with them because they're narcissistic and controlling ways. And some people like that are codependent. They don't really want a companion. Like a real godly man, I'm trying to be a true godly, God-fearing man, live holy and righteous life, a Christian lifestyle, spiritual, on my spiritual journey. And I would love to have a good spouse, a good wife that's godly too, because I know she will love me from the heart and she won't see me as everybody, as all of her exes that she's already dated. See, that was the problem, the comparing part. So anything they couldn't get over, they're coming to you broken, heartbroken, trust issues. They couldn't get over the old past, the old heartbreak, and this right here is what they always carried in their back pocket. So anytime they get upset, they will lash out because they couldn't control their feelings and emotions. And it's just like, okay, how are we going to make this work if you're so combative? So that's why you have to use your discernment. Now, on another note, let's say that I would have married this person. Let's say that I would have ended up signing on the dotted line, walking down the aisle, this person, for better or for worse, through thick and thin, and we got married. When you marry somebody, you cannot just get in a fight, argument, or have a disagreement and divorce them and go find somebody else. The reason for that is you will be living in adultery. Yeah, you will be living in sin, and you cannot go marry somebody else that was already divorced and their spouse is still alive, because now you will still be living in adultery and they'll be living in fornication. So you don't want to be doing that. Both of y'all you will be an adulterer and they will be an adulteress, basically. So I hope this is making sense. So you can basically you cannot divorce somebody and try to go remarry somebody else, because that right there will be adultery. God even said it in the word. It said, if a woman divorces her husband, let her remain unmarried. That is in the word. You can go look it up in the Bible. You can go Google it, whatever you have to do to get clarification, on that. So you will understand when we decide to walk down the aisle, marry somebody for better or for worse, you really have to understand you can separate. Yes, if it becomes too violent or verbal and y'all just cannot be in the same room and there's so much tension, y'all just cannot get along, you are allowed to separate. But you cannot, I repeat, you cannot go and be with somebody else or have a side piece or a situationship and go flirt around, go get drunk at a bar and end up sleeping with other people. Now you'll be committing adultery and the other person will be fornicating. This is not for non-believers. This is only for believers. Because if you tell a non-believer that they're of the world, they're trying to live and be part of the world and do worldly things and sinful things, fornicate, commit adultery, party, drink, smoke, hang out, that they don't understand your language. They don't understand what you will be saying to them. Some of them will. Some of them probably have heard it, but a lot of people will reject it because they're in the flesh. And like I said before, I don't judge anybody. I just try to live by the word, the truth, the Holy Bible, Jesus. I just try to follow Jesus and be a true disciple, because I know a lot of people, they're not really going to hear this come from a lot of pastors, preachers, ministers, elders. You're not going to hear too many, preachers speaking of lust and temptation, how to try to avoid it. If you see all the red flags, if a person is not respecting you, that is a really big red flag. A person have a really bad attitude, you might want to get them counseling. If they're spiritual, tell them to go to God to help them with that. That nasty attitude, that can battle, always confrontational, That is a red flag. You can't change somebody when you get into marriage. I even heard Pastor PJ say this, Gino. He said, you cannot change somebody when you get into marriage, because it's not I can change them. It's we are together in a marriage. So if they're not willing and able, just because you're codependent, and you don't want to be alone, or let me say this, you could want a forever person, for better and for worse, forever. You do want a companion, but you overlook that thinking, oh, well, if I get married to them, if I walk down the aisle or go get married at the courthouse, I can change them. No. It doesn't work like that. You get what I'm saying? I think you understand that if you are old enough, you will understand. A lot of older generation will tell the young generation, hey, feel this person out first. Look for all the red flags, right? You have to start with the red flags. Person don't respect you. They're always outgoing, partying, drinking. This right here is how you're going to fall into temptation and lust. This is how you're going to stumble. Even if you claim to be Christian, you can still be lukewarm. God said, don't be lukewarm. I will spit you out of my mouth. So if you're out here fornicating and all this lustful sin and watching all these, flicks on your phone, nasty things, perverted things on your phone and websites, watching all these dirty videos, this right here is how you're going to sin mentally, and it can lead to physical sinning, temptation, lusting, falling into the trap. It's hard, let me tell you, it is extremely hard to break that habit, that temptation, that lustful feeling, that urge that you just have to sleep with somebody. Once you get pulled into that sexual sin is so hard to break. That's why so many people fail when they try to stop. It takes so long. It may take some people years to get over it. Some people will leave off here. They will never get over it because the soul ties that they have built, they went down the road of destruction that they know they shouldn't have did it, but the flesh, it overpowers some people. Some people been living like that so long they don't know how to change, and they keep putting themselves around the things that keep making them stumble and fail at life, that keeps causing them to sin. They don't want to change. You would tell them over and over again, hey, you may not want to be around that guy or that girl or whoever makes you stumble. For whoever want to get married to the other one. God have made man and woman to be fruitful and multiply and get married only. So I just want to touch on that lustful ways and temptation that you probably can end up falling into if you get with the wrong person, and if a person doesn't respect you and a godly person, because they're going to know how to treat you. A woman should look for a leader, protector, provider, and the godly way, structure of a family household is God, the man, the woman, then the children. Not money, woman, man, then kids. That's out of order. That's why if a woman gets a soft guy in his soft girl era, he ain't gonna be able to control a strong-minded woman. Even if she's a good woman, but she never had a man to lead her in the right direction. There's a lot of people out here that are broken. So you need a strong, godly man that don't take no bull crap, but is a very good man that knows how that will love you, truly show you love and lead you the right way, not in a controlling, abusive type way, but a man that can check you and say, hey, babe, you can't do that. You can't be dressing like that. You can't be going out looking like, you already know you're beautiful. So why are you going out? You don't have to be all extra makeup on and your Daisy Dukes and short mini skirts and, with your breasts and chest hanging all out and your this tight mini dress skirt on. And you can't see this. A man with a strong backbone is not going to allow his woman to do that. I can't do that. I will not allow that. No, you're not going to walk around tempting other guys, and that can lead to a lot of different problems and trouble. Because you're tempting guys out here. Some people can't control themselves. It no matter if you say, leave me alone, I got somebody. They don't care. They don't care. They're too lustful. and you're tempting them by dressing provocative like that, showing off your body, and especially if you know you're 8, 9, and 10, a dime piece. Come on, we not stupid. We know a lot of people want attention validation out here. We get that part. Social media, internet, TV, influencers, music through music videos. We already get it. Come on now. We already know the play. But a strong, godly man that can lead his woman in the right direction. She doesn't have to be like that. Some people choose to. Some people was raised around bad influence. They became like that over time. And like I said, look for the red flags. Okay. So I think I'm gonna leave it right there. And like I said before, a lot of preachers, pastors, they're not gonna, touch on divorce and remarriage, because a lot of these pulpit, serpents out here, these snakes, these dirty dogs, only want your money. You're not gonna tell you that you can't, divorce and get remarried until the person that you divorced passes away first, or you will be living in sin and living in adultery. And I know that is hard for a lot of people to take in, because that is a very sensitive topic. That's why I try to be real careful when I explain it, because it almost happened to me. I almost ended up marrying somebody that was divorced. Could have, if things would have worked out with a few of them, probably like 2 or 3 different women I had a choice from throughout my dating life, that I probably could have ended up with and ended up in actually I would have been fornicating, and they would have been living in adultery, because I haven't been married yet. So I could have actually married probably like 2 or 3 different women that was married and divorced, which is I would have been living in sin either way it go. And I just couldn't do that, no matter how much I love them. And they would drop dead gorgeous. So they were highly tempting to go marry, but some of them attitudes weren't, like I said before, I wasn't always like this. I didn't try to put God first. I was blinded by the world. I was being of the world, so I was blinded. So that's why I like to tell my story, so that it can help save other people that never been married before. So don't ruin your life trying to go out and marry somebody that already been married and divorced, and their spouse is still alive. Now, if that person passes away first, that's fair game all day, because now that covenant is broken. See, they made a covenant with God to death do them apart. So the person have to pass away no matter what you saying. No, we get you don't want to be alone, but you already made your choice fair and square when you walk down the aisle, like I said, or you went to the courthouse. So I hope you can understand that you cannot marry a person that have been divorced and their spouse is still alive out here walking around somewhere. They probably went off and married somebody else, and now they're living in sin. But you won't, nothing will happen to you bad if you don't do that, and you just stay neutral. You can't go around sleeping with nobody. You just have to live neutral until that day either somebody passes away first, or you find hobbies and you go after your goals and dreams, or you tell your testimony and help save other people's lives. That's the best thing you can always do. When you help save other people's lives, you can make the world a better place as well. And a lot of people don't like to do it, because it can be after a while, but you have to get used to hearing the truth. A lot of people don't want to get used to hearing the truth. They run from the truth. And that's the problem that we're having in this world, right? Nobody wants to tell nobody the truth because it hurts. They can't handle the truth. It cut me first when I first heard it. Man, I had this woman I was so in love with. It hit me like a ton of bricks when I found out. I was like, she already belongs to somebody. There's nothing I can do about that now. I just have to move on with my life. So I'm gonna leave you with this. Put God first, and don't forget to get on this holy train by liking, subscribing, sharing, and sticking with me, because I'm in it for the long haul. Like, I'm gonna try my best to endure to the end, be on my spiritual journey, and help others along the way.